I want to tackle a big elephant that's in the room right away and talk about using somebody's first name in a subject line. Leslie, what have you seen? What do you know? Share your wealth of wisdom.
Okay, listen, this is a hot debate, right? I mean, we might see some fights going down in the chat. I personally, and I will just go ahead and caveat that with, I personally get great response rates by using someone's first name. I see Charlotte giving me a look. I know. And I think this is such like you got to try it for yourself.
Yeah.
Sales is cyclical. What's working right now is not going to work in like 3 weeks. Someone's going to throw it on a Reddit thread, whatever your favorite subject line is, whatever is working for you. And like 6 weeks from now, all of a sudden it's going to start tanking. So for me, I try it until it stops working. But right now, first names, they're doing really well for me. Charlotte, you look like you've got opposite data.
Yeah, but I think it's something key that you've said there. Like, if it's working for you, doesn't matter what everyone thinks. Like, you need to make sure that you're using the analytics that you have. Like, stuff on here might not work for you, but you got to test it out. So if something's working amazingly from you and it's on the do not use list, like, don't stop using it if it's working for you. So yeah, personally don't really like names in subject lines. Anything you can use as a dynamic tag, in my opinion, I wouldn't put in a subject line because it just looks like it's automated, in my opinion.
It's interesting that you say it looks like it's automated. I think our brains default to it was automated anytime we see something that, quote, looks like it might have been automated. Let's look at some of these results real quick. Any shockers? A lot of AEs. Shout out to the AEs wanting to personalize and look at what subject lines. Hey, I appreciate the AEs in the room. No Welcome shockers here. Others, 5% of you others, let us know in the chat. What are you, an alien? What I want to know.
Okay.
All right, let's move forward here. Common formulas. We've all heard some similar stuff. The idea behind talking about common formulas is that I don't want this to be repetitive. So what are some common formulas you hear all the time? I'll start with first name greater than equal sign your company name. This was something that started about 2 years ago and it started to get major traction. And like everything else, it's become kind of mainstream. Put a 1 in the chat if you've heard that before. First name greater than less than sign your company name or whatever, right? What do you guys think for the most common? What's the most common subject line that you guys hear?
Quick question.
I always see like 10 times ROI or something like that.
The 10X.
Yeah. 50 times pipeline.
Yeah. Keep those ones going. If you guys use any of these, we're going to talk about lots of stuff that's going to make you feel some type of way by the end of this thing. I just want to tell you right now. All right. So what do you guys think about like the use of role, industry, vertical, all those little variables that we think we're going to be super effective in our subject line? Is this still very common?
Charlotte?
I'm kind of thinking, because I think as long as the rest of the email is personalized, I'm not against using like industry and something else. Like, I don't know, industry and recent article or something like that. As long as it links, then I'm fine with it. But you can usually tell from the first 30 characters of an email if it is just a generic, oh, I see you're part of dynamic field industry. Do you want a 30-minute demo? And you can tell when it's automated. So you know what? If the first line looks personalized, I'm not against industry.
Okay.
Or I'm probably against role though. That's definitely automated.
Yeah. We used to view personalization differently, right? Oh my God, they used my title. They must have wrote this for me, right? And then we were like, oh shit, merge fields are a thing, right? So then once we knew that, it was like tokens, everybody tokens, right? Everybody just got token happy. All right, so there's a lot of common ones out there. I've put a list together and I want to launch this poll real quick. If you're guilty of these, this is anonymous, so nobody is judging you, but what is the one, your go-to tactic that you use that's considered a very common subject line technique that we hear? And then I want to talk about this like vibe of marketing. Leslie, there's this element of like them plus you equals rocket ship. I see HubSpot use this. I see marketing articles that have something to this effect written in it all the time. Why is this the thing that gets people interested in an email, opening an email?
Well, I think like emojis, there is data on both sides of the emoji thing. But if you look through your personal email account, like look at your Gmail, or I don't know who's got like a Hotmail, a Yahoo, I don't know, wherever you're at, right? If you go through there and you like look down your subject lines, every single one has an emoji in it. And I feel like it does feel very marketing-esque. If we don't know the person's name who's attached to it, I'm like, oh, marketing immediately. That's where my head goes. But if it's James sending me like a rocket ship emoji, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll open it.
Because
Different
it's
story.
James. Yeah. Yeah. But that's more to do with me because I'm awesome and you want to see the rocket ship email from James, right?
Word. But I know you. It's a little bit different. If you're a stranger showing up and I see emojis, like for me, that's like, oh, marketing, delete.
I'm not against emojis though. Maybe not. I personally haven't used it in a subject line, but if I'm doing something random, like I find out they have a dog and I know their name, and adding a dog emoji at the end, then I'm not against that.
Very
but if it's like,
personalized.
yeah, then plus you equals rocket ship, I'm like, oh, stop it.
Yeah, that's like an icky feeling. That's that car salesman feeling that we get, right? Even though it's a marketing thing, I think we get that sleazy car salesman vibe when we see you plus me equals win, right? Like
Reminds
it's
me of
super
like
cheap.
a boy band song, you know?
That's actually not
Yeah.
bad. We'll see the return of the boy band, and this will be the win. Okay, so include their team. Why do we feel like this is a strategy? I see a lot of people that do, like, we talk about multi-threading, but then in the subject line, it's like a blanket statement or like, a subject line that's not related to the team call, but then we want to copy in all these random people. Why do we do this? And what subject lines should we be using if we're going to send to multiple people?
I don't agree with CCing in people from their team. If I'm CC'd into an email, I immediately think that, well, someone else can answer this email. I don't need to answer it. So firstly, against it. I thought you meant put in the rep's name in the subject line. I was like, oh, I love that. And that works a treat for us here. Big fan of that. Or like someone that they report into, but especially their team. Like if you can find out someone who's in their direct team, like there's no chance that they're not going to open that and at least read a little bit of it.
Totally agree. 100%. I would just like do a little bit of research, someone who they recently hired, and you can make a comment about that, or someone, if you can say like from their manager or their director level, I feel, and I have gone for this multiple times. I have to open it. If you mention my director or my, just one level up, even, it will always make me open. And I'm like, what is this that they're talking about? Do I need to reply? Did this person send them to me? I need to know more.
Another one is like using the name in a recommendation. Like if someone's left a recommendation and they use the term like leadership or something that you can relate your product to, using that person's like name, person's apostrophe S recommendation. That one's worked well for us in the past.
I want to share these results and then I want to pass it to Charlotte so she can talk about the formula situation for the tier 1s, 2s, and 3s. So these are the results, right? So everyone in 73% of you voted. Shout out to the 73%. This is not surprising, right? A lot of us use these very common practices. And what happens, like anything else, is that it works for a while. We get excited about it. It gets overused. Other people pick up on it. It becomes mainstream and it becomes less effective. Stop using it for a while. Let it come back into style, just like cold calling, just like email, just like social. It's all cyclical. And you'll find that these things can work spontaneously throughout your year, throughout your quarters, if you don't overuse them. So great poll right there. We appreciate everybody takes part in the poll. All right. So talk to me about formulas, Charlotte, because you said something on the pre-call for this that stood out to me, and I think it holds a lot of weight.
Yeah, so I personally don't have a formula for my tier 1s accounts. I just don't think you can physically have a formula. It's so difficult to know exactly what personalization you're going to be using with that company. And for me, my personalization is reflected in the subject line. For my tier 2s and tier 3s, yeah, I'll have some kind of formula, or I'll have something really random as the subject line, but it has to link to the email, because my tier 2s and my tier 3s, I'm not spending as much personalization on these emails. And so I physically can't do it for the subject lines as well.
Let's get to the fun part of this. Let's talk about the things not to do. These are common. Yo, if your feelings are hurt looking at this list, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up. It's all right. So why should people not use this?
Which part? I
And
mean,
you-
I
it-
think,
like what, all of these are things not to do. Why are these things not to do?
I think the majority of the things on here seem a little bit like sneaky almost.
100%.
That's the ones that really get me. So if we're looking for like some concrete reasons why, the fake reply, and I know a lot of you are like, yeah, it's lying. Yes, Annika, exactly. You think like, oh, people still do that. It got popular for a while. Last week, I got a fake reply. So it's still happening. It's when you write like RE and you think that it's regarding, but it's not really, you know what you're doing. Like, don't do it. We don't have an email thread from before, so let's not do that. But I think that a lot of this really stems from the personality of the people who are emailing. Majority of people who I'm talking to are looking to go up the chain. If you're talking director, VP, C-suite, anyone know like the DISC personality? Did anyone ever take that test?
Yep.
Yeah.
DISC, DISC personality test. Majority of our buyers are that D driver type personality. So when we're using things like, you must have not seen my last email, or read my email below, and we're pointing them to a previous step, that is like a really hot button way for you to get like a delete immediately. People who
Yeah.
are high D's or driver personality type do not like that at all. Don't make them go do work. It's our job as the rep to catch their attention. And if we don't do it, let's try a different way.
I think we're taking a lot of like old traditional techniques that were acceptable quite a long time ago, and we're just keeping them into today's like modern and personalized environment, and it just doesn't work. I think sales used to be a bit sneaky back in the day. Like I've heard some tactics, and I've definitely done some tactics like lying and stuff like that I was taught to do to try and book a meeting, and it's just ridiculous, and it just gives sales such a bad like rep. So just don't lie and don't try and be sneaky to get an open and reply, because long term it's going to hurt you more than it will help you succeed.
We hear that all the time. People refer to this as the bait and switch, you know? All right. So don't bait and switch. The other ones on there were very marketing like, right? You don't want to become the sham wow guy. That's not, nobody responds favorably to those subject lines, those emails. Behold the
Billy
power of
Mays.
OxyClean, right? The Billy Mays. Yeah, people don't buy from those, and they don't trust. Super cheesy. All right. So cool. I want to give you guys the 15 subject lines that you should be looking at here. This is probably what you came here for. So here we go. And if you're not going to capture this screenshot, it's okay. You're going to get this recording. So chill. But also we'll send this list to you in the follow-up. So these are some subject lines that we all came up with, that we've been using, that we've seen successful. You should start using some of these to see how they perform in your cadences, in your outbound emails. Any particular ones on this list that you two would like to dive into?
Yeah, I'll
I
call
think-
out a couple. Go ahead, Charlotte.
No, I was just going to say the video one. I'm going to put one in the chat. Morgan did a post about this one working like extremely well, just putting their name and a quick video for you in it. It got crazy open rates. I think if you're utilizing the video, you can probably be a bit lazier and generic with the subject line, as long as the video is personalized, because it's not as common. So just a comment on that on the video one. And the personalization one and challenge is my favorite on the far left hand side. Personalization, again, I just love dog examples because I'm obsessed with dogs. If someone wrote to me and said Mila, my dog, and I don't know, negotiation skills, I'd be like, I'm clicking on that. What are they saying about my dog? And I'd have to click on it. So I think like personalization, something that's one-to-one to them, and maybe a challenge that you're guessing might be a focus for them.
Yeah, video is a magic word. If you're going to send a video, include the word video somewhere in your title. I like it up front because then people almost stop reading and just click in. If I include video in my subject line, I know it's skyrocketing. The other thing that's like super easy, and I know it's something that everyone tends to stay away from, that word, just one word intro. I'm getting a huge response rate with that. And I don't then go intro myself as my first line, which I think is important. I never start off the email making it about me. I'm not going to say, hi, my name is Leslie Douglas, and I'm your new account executive. Like, I'm not going there. I go straight into something about them. But since it's like short and then they see the first 10 words is something about their business on the preview, they're like, what in the world? Intro. I'm never really introducing myself. It's like my first email to them. And it's working really, really well for me. I'm getting great response rates.
I think one word subject lines are just amazing. Like I'll do stuff like hiring or SDRs or like one word, and they're probably my favorite. I'd probably just have Pablo or Mila as the subject line as well, just a singular dog.
So one of the preview
Wow.
tactics that I use for that first line in your email, if you're going to send a video, is I immediately tell them that it's less than a minute long. This video is
Yeah,
less
this
than a
is
minute
great.
long, right? That way, when they see it, they know that they're in for like a 47-second engagement. If they watch this video, it's not going to be, you know, the background of Tolstoy, right? Like, too much.
Yeah.